Did you know that a life seeking pleasure is normal? It's actually good. There's really no issue with seeking pleasure, and yet you'll hear some people say that it's a problem, that it's a hedonistic life. Now, they're missing half of the equation. Because seeking pleasure is unavoidable. You're not going to live a life just avoiding pain and that's it. You need some sort of pleasure in your life or there's no real point in living it. So if you're curious to know what a pleasurable life entails and how to do it in a way where you're actually meeting your goals, then stick around because the answer is so simple, it's quite surprising. Because what if I told you that they're wrong? What if I told you that a lot of these motivational speakers, inspirational people, a lot of these men are wrong? They're not intentionally wrong, they're just missing a key portion of what a life should look like. And I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. I'm simply here to provide and offer a framework that you can transpose your life on top of and make sure you reach your goals and let everyone else win along the way. Because you hear it quite often, it sounds like life's supposed to be all about suffering. You're supposed to wake up early and jump in a cold shower and get your work done and go to bed early and eat everything that's great for you and tastes terrible. And it sounds like life is a chore. Where's the pleasure? Seems like you're just creating pain to avoid other pain. And yes, it's true. Avoiding pain is your biggest motivating factor. That's true with everyone. Everyone is far more motivated avoiding pain than seeking pleasure. And yet, we still need to seek pleasure. It's one of the 3 human desires. So how do we do it in a way that doesn't make it all about just scrolling on TikTok trying to find the next funny video? How do we do it in a way that lifts everyone up? Well, what most people aren't talking about is that there are 2 different kinds of pleasure. Because what most of the naysayers are talking about is consumptive pleasure. And yet, there's generative pleasure. There are 2 different kinds of pleasure. And so when you only focus on that one, of course you're going to adopt that mindset. But when you come to that understanding that there's also generative pleasure, you can start to play deeper and richer games. Because yes, they're right. A life filled with nothing but consumptive pleasure is not going to give you much at the end of the day. In fact, it's only going to make you weaker, more miserable. But when you choose generative pleasure, you are in control. Because think of it this way. Have you ever wondered why when you're scrolling on TikTok all night trying to find the next video to actually make you feel something, at the end of the day you just feel more empty? Well, maybe it's kind of like the more food you eat in excess, the hungrier you are later on. It's because you're consuming more and more and more, which means that you are giving away your control to external forces. You're scrolling on TikTok to be able to feel something, to be happy. You are giving away your own happiness to TikTok because you create your happiness, but now you're giving TikTok the permission to make you happy. You are consuming happiness through it. Therefore, you are giving away your power to make yourself happy. You have all these natural resources of strength, of happiness, of feeling completely whole, and yet when we give it away and we consume it back from others, we no longer know how to create it ourselves. And so by consuming pleasure, by seeking it out from other people and other things, that is going to be problematic because we're giving away our power to them. And when we no longer get it from them, we feel even more empty. And yet, if you focus on generative pleasure, on the pleasure you can generate, you have put that power and that control back in your hands. Things like helping other people, like working on art, on your goals, like building up your muscle mass, anything that you are in control of that brings you pleasure is a game that's going to make you even stronger at the end of the day. So rather than scrolling through TikTok and then feeling empty at the end of the night, rather than gorging yourself in gluttony and feeling even more hungry than you were before, finding the pleasure of building your goals, the foundations to your dreams, is going to feel like pleasure. It's going to make you feel good. And it's not going to disappear because you created that. You took the power. And you are in complete control. So you're probably missing one thing. If you're seeking out pleasure and at the end of the day you feel even more empty than you did before, or if you vilify pleasure and you think it's a terrible thing to distract the hedonists, you might be missing one thing. That we're only talking about consumptive pleasure. And yet when we shift our focus to generative pleasure, it gives you even more control and it's far more entertaining because you get to write the story and you get to create the narrative of your life. You're no longer just feeding on someone else's story, but you're building and paving your own, able to take you anywhere you want to go. It creates more confidence, more strength, and it's far more fulfilling than feeding on anyone else's story. So the only real question is, if you were in complete control, if you got to write your own life, what would it even look like? Where would you be? Would anyone be around you? What's around you? Is it daytime or nighttime? Really paint that picture. When you see yourself living a life completely in control, where are you and what are you doing? And that is the path you need to take. Finding pleasurable goals that will get you there will be far more motivating and create a life that's worth living. The first step is figuring out where you want to go. And I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Comment anything. Anything you got out of this video, anything that came to mind in your own thoughts as you were watching it. Anything at all. Comment your favorite letter, your favorite emoji. If you could simply just engage in any way, it'll help spread these videos more. And in return, I can help you more because it's starting to actually get around. So with a simple like and a simple comment, you could have done your part to take back from the YouTube overlords and let your voice be heard throughout the algorithm, helping others along the way. Thank you.